friends, and welcome to this second day of our webinar on GST. We are playing I song. I request all the participants and members to put their right hand on their heart. Friends, this is going to be a historical moment for all of us in that with us, and he is going to share his views to all of us through this platform of webinar. Now I request our dynamic of Ahmedabad branch who made this possible for all of us. He helped us in getting unlocked from this lockdown. None other than CA Fenim Shah, chairman of Ahmedabad branch. I request him to now address the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishen Bhai. The speaker of the day, P. Rajendra Kumar ji. The other chairman, Chairman Dipesh Booth, in action is not on video but he is on audio. The other chairmen of branch, Rajkot branch, Anand branch, Bhavnagar branch, Bhuj branch, Gandhidham branch. The indirect tax committee chairman, CA Rahul Maliwal, Secretary Bishan Shah, and all the members who are addressing this. Giving this, I welcome you all to this second day of our conference. Friends, I only with you right now for those participants who are there for GST, that we all are at home and we are working from home. Now, can we do something to take an active participation in nation building? Then yes, we can take. Though we cannot go out of our home because of lockdown, no, we cannot participate outside or on an actual ground. But yes, sitting at our home, we can suggest our government that what can be the steps which are to be taken by the government during the lockdown and post-lockdown for revival of this economy. So after this webinar, I request you that for time being, you just think of that had you been on the field, right, taking actual measures, आपके मुताबिक वो कौन से measures होने चाहिए, जो लेने चाहिए, and kindly come up to branch. And today morning, we have shared one mail with you, a web form on which you can fill it. We will compile it and we will make it reach to an appropriate forum. If there are any technical issues in this particular webinar, 2 WhatsApp groups are prepared. In that, you can directly connect to us and we will be able to solve the same. Plus, one more thing, a team from Indirect Tax Committee is preparing the summary of all these webinars going on. We will compile it in a nice, useful manner and we will share it with you and all other members who are unable to attend this webinar. So with this brief remarks, I would request CA Rahul Maliwal to take the session further.
Thank you so much, Fanil Bhai. Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome you all on the second day of the Advanced GST series. The topic for the today's session is one of the most litigating session, as we all know, in the field of indirect taxation, that is the classification. Someone very well said, a rose by any other name just smell like the sweet. But when it comes to the indirect taxation, it doesn't hold good. Why? Because when in case of the indirect taxation, the taxability of the goods and services depends upon the classification, and in case of the wrong classification, it may lead to the even closure of the business. For example, in case if the taxability of product, if your product is taxable at the rate of 28% and you have classified it in the range of 18%, so somewhere down the line, 1 or 2 year later, when you come to know it is taxable at the rate of 18% at 28%, then the amount differential amount of the tax, penalty and interest may lead to even higher than your profits and maybe higher than your revenues. So there are many industries which are facing the problem of this classification. For example, that is the auto ancillary, which are selling their goods to the secondary market, not to the original equipment manufacturers. So as the topic of the today's session is very crucial, so we need someone from the faculty also to be the best from the India. And you all will appreciate that today's faculty, CA Rajendra Kumar sir, who is also the Indirect Tax Committee Chairman, ICAI Delhi. So we all appreciate that he will justify this particular topic. Now I request Chairman of the Jamnagar branch to introduce sir.
Uh, thank you. Thank you, all the members of TAIS. I would like to. My name is C. Dipesh Booth from Jamnagar branch of WIRC. I am the chairman of that branch. Thank you, give me also opportunity of our renowned faculty of ICAI, CA Rajendra Kumar sir. He is a graduate from Madras University of Madras. He is elected to the Central Council member of ICAI of India. He was also member of Central Council member for the term 2010 to 13. Currently, he is a chairman of a HST and Indirect Tax Committee member, vice chairman of Committee on Management Accounting, deputy convener of members and student services directorate, disciplinary committee bench, members of board of studies academic skill, editorial board, ethical standard board, professional development accounting standard board, direct tax committee, digital accounting and assurance board, internal audit standard board, management committee. He is a fellow member of ICAI and graduate of ICWI. He is an independent director of reputed corporate boards. He is a senior partner of Rajiv Shah and Associate. He is an article assistant in Krishna Jai Chandran, secured 97% in CF final November 2015 indirect tax paper, and thereby hold the record for securing highest ever marks scored by any student never break the CA exam. He is also having he is a member of International Weight Association headquartered in Belgium. There is a endless he is a well-known person in ICAI and various he is a various committee members formed by the ICAI. Thank you for my parts. Now I hand over to P. Rajendra Kumar sir.
Thank you, Dipesh bhai.
Yes, sir. Welcome. And now you deliberate on the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
CA Fenil Shah, the chairman of the Ahmedabad branch, CA Rahul Maliwalji, my very good friend Vishan Bhai, and other chairmen of the various branches who have joined here, and also various members who are viewing this webcast. At the outset, I sincerely thank Ahmedabad branch of the WIRC of ICAI for giving me this wonderful opportunity of coming online in these COVID times. I sincerely also express my gratitude to Vishan Shah, who was coordinating with me for this program, who actually invited me. Myself and Vishan share a very, very old relationship. We are both friends for almost now few years, and along with me, International VAT Association, he is also doing a great job. On this very important day today, I first of all greet you and also wish all of you and your families a very nice stay at home. All of you good health, prosperity, joy and happiness, and also very nice COVID times, especially in your homes. So let us all pray for those who are suffering from this very dreaded virus, not only in India and across the world. And it is only our sincere prayers which will see us through. In fact, even the God is locked up in the temples, in the mosque, in the church, in the gurudwaras, etc. So even the God would like to come out and give his full darshan to all of us. We only await this. And I also inform you, esteemed viewers, that there is a power cut near my home, and there is on and off power problem is going on since morning because of a little rains that have started occurring in Chennai here. So in case the power, I certainly hope the power comes back. Then from generator mode we shift to the powered mode automatically. So there will be a break of a minute or two, maximum not more than 3 to 4 minutes. So don't panic. We'll be certainly reconnected. I'm currently audible. I'm aware of that. In fact, when Bhishan asked me what is the topic which I would speak on, I said, sir, I would like to speak on classification concepts in GST. All of you would have heard the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, my committee's GST committee's webcast last month, which we did on exactly the March 13th evening, the webcast on classification concepts. I am here to speak to you again on the same topic. I don't know how many of you viewed it, but I must tell you, esteemed friends, that this is one of the most important area in GST, which many of us casually do not even look into. Even casually, we do not even look into this particular concept of classification. In fact, what I call classification is what majority of the professionals call it as rate of tax, rate of GST. In fact, in the early times of GST, maybe in the first week of July or so, I got a telephone call from a chartered accountant friend of mine. The friend of mine asked me, Narendra Kumar sir, I'm having a doubt. I said, please tell me, sir, what is the rate of milk? What is the rate of milk? The rate of milk per liter you are asking, or half liter you are asking? No, sir, I am asking you the rate of GST of milk. Okay, then what milk you are asking? Is it flavored milk? Is it flavored milk with nuts? Is it condensed milk? I asked him few questions, and immediately he said, sir, there are so many varieties, so many categories. I said, these are only 3 or 4 I told you, but if you really ask me, there are about 10 plus categories, 10 to 12 plus categories of milk alone which are categorized in the literature. It may not be in the GST which you are seeing currently. I will come to you a little while later. So I said, see, these are the things which you should find out, and then you come back to me and I will tell you. I'll give you one more example. Now, when you go to a shop, you buy these Lay's chips. You open the packet and you start eating that, isn't it? You start eating that, yes or no? Yes, all of you like that, and all of you would like to spend your time also on those Lay's chips, given the time if it is there at your disposal. So you start eating the Lay's chips, okay? Yes. Then suppose you don't buy that packet. You go to the same shop and your wife or your mother or your sister or your daughter says, please buy raw chips and come. So you buy raw chips and come and you give it to them, and they start frying in the house, isn't it? Frying. जो chips को पापड़ तलते हैं, इसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में. ठीक है? तो there you open the packet, you started eating it. It is ready to eat. Yes or no? It is ready to eat. Yes. Now, the others which you went to the shop, you bought the raw chips, you gave it to your wife, sister, mother or daughter, and they put it in the frying pan in the hot boiling oil. They put it and they fried and gave it to you. So the product which you bought from the office was ready to cook. So tomorrow when someone says in your house, please go and buy chips. You should ask them, you want ready to cook chips or ready to eat chips? Because both are different, isn't it? Likewise, you see, these are only two examples which I gave you. And you see, there are numerous rates of taxes in GST, isn't it? There is 0, there is 3, there is 5, there is 12, there is 18, there is 28. So almost 6 different rates are there, barring a few other rates. I think there may be 1 or 2 with some compounding rate here, and then the money changers there, and so on and so forth. So there are about 8 to 10 rates of GST in India. Admittedly, India is not the only country. India is not the only country where there are so many number of rates. No, there are many other countries where there are numerous rates in the GST. India is one of the 150 plus countries in the world which is implementing GST in the same manner in which 150 countries are implementing. Principles of GST are the same. Procedures may be different. Procedure, I mean the rate of tax, the method of filing of return, the due date of filing of return, the capturing of data, and so on and so forth. So having said this, friends, I would like to stress upon a point that when the department comes for an audit to your client, and the department comes for an audit to your client, and they verify the books of accounts, department is going to come. Please wait, because here, unlike your income tax, where you go to the office, you do the scrutiny, or all those stuff, nothing doing. Department officials will visit your client, come to their office, go through their books of accounts, understand from you the business operations, what you do, what you don't do, and then based on what you've input together, they are going to ask you questions. For them, what is important? Revenue is very important. They only want revenue. They don't want anything else. Revenue, I mean, when I say revenue, I mean revenue for the government, not any other thing. Don't take me wrong. Okay? Yes. Then, friends, now when revenue is important to them, how do they derive that revenue? They get the revenue only from the GST that the client is paying. So whether the client is adopting the correct rate of GST is very important. Is it 12%? It is 18%? Is it 5%? What is the rate? So they will go through, okay, you are adopted 18%. What is the product? Show me. Now, if the product is shown to them and they say that no, this is not the classification, this is different. This is not a 12%, this is a 28%. Remember, friends, this is on gross. So if something your client has charged 12 and it is going to be 28, how much your client is going to suffer? You will not suffer. You will not suffer. The client is going to suffer. But in client's suffering lies our suffering, isn't it? Like client makes money, he will give us fees. If client does not make money, why will he give fees? He has got nothing to pay anyone. How will he give you fees? So client suffering is also our suffering, not our own suffering. We are a very unique profession in the world. Remember, we are the only unique profession in the world who will cry along with the client, who will smile along with the client, who will laugh along with the client. Having said this, friends, let me give you one more example. Honorable Prime Minister a few years back in his Man Ki Baat said, मित्रों, all ये जो कोको कोला वगैरह इस कंपनीज है, मैं उनसे गुजारिश करूंगा कि वो अपने ये जो ड्रिंक बनाते हैं उसमें थोड़ा सा ये फ्रूट का जूस ऐड कर देंगे. If they add fruit juice, then the farmers of this country will benefit. Then what happened? Many of the companies, what they did, their drinks which are available, they started adding fruit drink, the fruit juice into that drink. Thereby, the fizzy drinks became fizzy fruit drink based juice or fizzy fruit based drinks. Now, if you look at the classification, there are only two things. That is this aerated waters and others. Now, aerated drinks basically are charging at 28%, which is aerated drinks being Coca-Cola, this Pepsi, Sprite, Thumbs Up, and so on. Now, anything which is aerated water is 28%. Fruit juice is at 12%. Now, there is no in-between category. There is nothing called as aerated fruit juice based drink. It is not there in the GST. It is not there in the classification. So if some of them are adopting 12%, it is not correct because it is not there in the category. If some of them are adopting 28%, they feel why I am paying 28% and my competitor is paying 12%. So friends, how should you classify a product? See, I am going to close my talk by about 6:15, 6:20. So I am only going to give you practical tips, what you have to do. I don't know how many of you are in GST practice or indirect taxes for, since when. There may be a few who are there from inception, or not GST, from the inception that you have started practice. There may be few who are, there may be many who started the indirect taxes only from the GST times. There may be some in between categories also. So I would like to tell you, friends, that the entire classification of GST is contained in notification 1/2017. All of you are aware of that. All of you know that also. 1/2017 contains the entire classification. That is, when I say classification in common terminology, it means rate of tax. It means rate of tax. It is contained in notification 1/2017. All of you know that. All of you have also seen that many times. But how many of you have gone through the entire notification? Please tell me. All of you would have certainly gone through. I know, I can see the smile on your face. I know how many of you are thinking that yes, I did go through the notification. But friends, whenever you read a notification, my humble suggestion is please read fully. Please read fully. And I have always maintained in my last 24 years of practice in the area of indirect taxes, I have always told everyone, whenever you are reading something, read fully and read fully with concentration. Notification 1/2017 is a very, 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 very large notification, as it contains various rates of taxes. The commodity codes are there, the name of the commodity, everything is there. But do you know it is founded on which? It is founded on what? Do you know that it follows which particular law in the consumption taxes terminology? Do you know from where we are borrowing the classification concepts? If you now when you read the notification, the last paragraph in clause 1, clause 2 is what? This notification shall come into force with effect from 1st day of July 2017. In fact, I'm looking here because I have some material before me. I can't share it with you here on the net. So I'm just keeping it with me and trying to derive examples from there. In fact, the clause 1, the last paragraph, for your benefit, I am going to read the last paragraph and you will follow me. You will just follow me. You should give me 1 minute. I'm going to read that so that all of you are able to follow me. See, you have to go and see this notification. You have to go and see this notification. You have to go and see what I am telling is correct, what it is there is correct. Okay. The rules for the interpretation of the first schedule to the Customs Tariff Act 1975, including the section and the chapter notes and the general explanatory notes of the first schedule shall, so far as may be, apply to the interpretation of this notification. Very, 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 very important, my esteemed friends. Very important as far as our discussion is concerned today. What does it say? It says the rules for the interpretation. That is how you have to interpret the contents of notification number 1/2017 is the rules for the interpretation of the first schedule of the Customs Tariff Act of 1975, including the section and the chapter notes and general explanatory notes of the first schedule shall apply to the interpretation of this notification. Now, this GST rate notification before you does not contain chapter notes, does not contain section notes, does not contain sections, does not contain chapters. It is just one printed notification which is presented before you. Am I right? You are yes, yes or no? Yes. Thank you for confirming that I am right. Yes. See, now for this purpose, all of you, once the COVID times are over, once the all the shops are open, the normal businesses open, all of you start getting fees from your clients when you have some extra money. That is very soon. I'm not telling after 1 year and all. Maybe in the next 3 to 4 months. Please go to a bookshop and tell that person, please give me Customs Tariff Act of 9 Customs Tariff Act. He will give you this big book, this big book, some 600 to 1000 pages. That book is there. RK Jain's publication is there. Please buy that. Please compulsorily buy that book and start browsing it slowly, one by one. Have your notification number 1/2017 next to you and keep comparing that. So for your information, as a faculty, I can only guide you. As a faculty, I am always available for clarifying any doubts, maybe not today, in the course of time. But I am going to tell you simple steps today. That if the department is going to come and question you about the rate of GST, what you should do is directly go to the classification code which your client has employed. Suppose your client is just a trader. He is buying, he is selling. So whatever the GST code is on the purchase invoice will also be there on the sale invoice, isn't it? It will be there. It will not be different. Correct. But assume that the purchase invoice GST is wrong. Purchase invoice GST itself is wrong. But your gullible client, he has only followed what the manufacturer has given. If the manufacturer is wrong, remember, my friends, till the end there is a problem. Because today in GST, it is easy, isn't it, to find out the manufacturer has sold to which wholesaler, wholesaler has sold to which distributor has sold to which retailer, isn't it? It's very easy to find out. So what will happen? What will happen is that the rate of GST may be got wrong by the person who has originally applied it, that is the manufacturer. I think, friends, I'm not drinking tea, I'm just drinking hot water. Please don't envy me. It's just a hot water I'm drinking so that I can keep my throat calm and composed. This is the second meeting I'm attending today. From 6:30 to 9 o'clock, I'm having another meeting with the Honorable President ICPI. So, friends, as I was telling you, see, in the beginning times of GST, this idli dosa mix, idli dosa, khaman dokla, this wet mix which was there, you go to shop, bring it and giving it to the person in your house who's doing the cooking, and immediately they cook and give nice, wonderful, fluffy idlis or dosa or doklas like that. This wet flour is there. Today, many people don't do that. They buy from the shop and they cook at home. Now, there was a difference in rate of tax. It was actually 18%, but the industry was employing that, industry was putting 5%. It was there for 3 to 4 months. Then what happened? What happened was that the government reduced the rate somewhere in October or November, exactly don't know. So, friends, you have to be very careful when it comes to the rate of taxes. So, whenever there is a doubt, what you have to do? Find out what is the GST code, the classification code. In other words, we call it as HSN, Harmonized Systems Nomenclature. The entire coding in the world is done by only one organization, that is World Customs Organization in Brussels. In Brussels, the World Customs Organization in Brussels codifies the entire literature as far as codes are concerned for goods, and we are talking about that only today. You have to go to the section in the customs, relevant chapter in the customs, and then find out the code by reading the section note or the chapter note. I will give an example, friends. in the Customs Tariff Act, friends, in the Customs Tariff Act, you will find that there are 21 sections. There are 21 sections in the Customs Tariff Act, 98 chapters. In fact, the 1000-page book contains all this, 21 sections and 98 chapters, out of which chapter number 77 is intentionally left blank for future use. Now, I'll now give you one more example. See, basically the sections are codified in such a manner that there is a heading. For example, section 40 is rubber and rubber products. What did I say? Section 40 is rubber and rubber products. Okay. Now, in that there are numerous chapters. Again, in section 40, not 40, sorry, chapter 40. I didn't say sorry because it's not section 40, chapter 40. Chapter 40 deals with rubber and rubber products. Chapter 96 deals with toys. What did I say? Toys. Now, take the case of balloons. Now, whether balloon which is made of rubber latex is to be classified under chapter 40 or chapter 96. Please think. I'll give you one more example. There is a shop which is selling bicycles as well as tricycles. Bicycles as well as tricycles. It is a shop which is selling those vehicles for children's. Now, children bicycle, children tricycle. Now, children bicycle also can be a bigger bicycle, can be a smaller bicycle, can be a learner's bicycle. Now, a bicycle can be a toy. A bicycle can be a vehicle. Yes or no? Yes or no? A tricycle can be a toy. A tricycle can be a vehicle. Yes or no? Yes. Yes. There you are many people telling yes. So one product can be classified under more than it is possible that they can fall under two different heads. But which head it falls? It comes under which category? It comes under which particular HSN code? Depends sometimes on the usage put also. So a small, tiny, maybe this much small, tiny children's bicycle, children's tricycle is a toy, isn't it? It is not a vehicle. Even the children can go on the road, children can go around the apartment, within the house, etc. It is still not vehicle. It is a toy. It is a toy. So whatever is the rate of GST applicable to the toy only will be applicable to that particular tricycle, not the rate applicable to the vehicle. Please remember that very, very carefully. Now, let me give you one more example here. For example, let us go to a particular section which deals with the textiles, because you are in the state of Gujarat and you are your state is also very, very important state as far as textiles and cotton and etc. is concerned. Section 11 deals with the textile and the textile articles. Section 11, what is the heading? Textile and textile articles. In that section, there are numerous chapters. Chapter 50, chapter 51, chapter 52, chapter 53, chapter 54. Like that, it goes on up to chapter 62. Ready-made garments, branded ready-made garments, unbranded, so many things. Now, if you ask me an example, chapter 50 deals with silk. That's all. So anything that is silk, textile and textile articles, anything that is silk, you should not go anywhere else. Go to chapter 50. It will contain numerous varieties, numerous products. Now, can you tell me, sari? I mean, I'm just not on silk saris. I'm just telling you sari, dhoti. Are they ready-made garments or are they fabric? What will be the rate of GST? Should the ready-made garment rate applied on them, or should you apply the fabric rate? Please tell me. In fact, Supreme Court in one of the cases which it had to deal with respect to dhoti. You are in the southern part of India. I come from southern part of India. Though I am born and brought up here, I belong to your neighboring state only, Rajasthan. That is my native state. My ancestors used to live there, and for business purposes they came to Chennai, and I am here born in Chennai and half South Indian, half North Indian, but fully an Indian. So friends, this sari and dhoti, I told you. Dhoti, Supreme Court said it is a fabric. That's all. It is not a ready-made garment. Even though the four corners are stitched, even though it is worn by a person, still it is a fabric only. It is not a ready-made garment. So on the similar pretext, sari is also a fabric. It is not a ready-made garment. So the classification of ready-made garment should be avoided. These are all, I am giving you examples, friends. Please don't consider whatever I am telling is 100% correct. You will have to verify. This disclaimer I am giving you. You will have to please verify at your end whatever Rajendra Kumar sir is told is correct or wrong. This is a test I am giving you. Let me put it like that. I have already given you 2 works. One work I gave is go and buy the Customs Tariff Act. Second, I told you open the book and start comparing with the GST notification one. So 2 works I already gave you. Okay. So the section 50 deals with silk. Section 51 deals with what? Wool. Fine or coarse fine or full wool, comma, which means everything that is wool will come here, comma, fine or coarse animal hair. See, fine or coarse animal hair, which means any animal hair which is fine or coarse will be coming under chapter 51. Chapter 52 deals with cotton. It means anything that is cotton will have to come under chapter 52 only. Now, I am going to take the example of just chapter 52 cotton. Now, again, this is divided into various headings.
Sir, I guess your voice is not coming. Hello, Rajendra sir, we lost your voice. Hello. Rajendra sir, we are not able to hear you. Can you? Yes. तो सर आप यहाँ पे बोलो ना सर. You can speak on this microphone. It's on. Yes, sir. Friends, Rajendra sir, yeah.
You have to see
under which particular, you have to see under which particular heading your product is going to fall. Esteemed friends, so I have told you the example of a section. I have told you example of a chapter. Second is the chapter note. See, chapter note is very, very important. These chapter notes, these chapter notes are something which will say what is the coverage of the product or what is not covered in that particular chapter. See, I told you the example of balloon, isn't it? Now, if you go to chapter 40, it specifically says balloons made of natural rubber latex, which means balloon cannot be classified as a toy, isn't it? Which means balloon cannot be classified as a toy, yes or no? Yes, because in GST it says that balloons are under the heading of what? Chapter 40 and not chapter 96. But friends, as far as the customs law is concerned, balloons are to be classified as toys in chapter 96. This is one of the very, 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 very important differences. It is not that there will not be any difference, there will be. So balloon is classified in the chapter 40 in GST, it is classified in the chapter 96 in customs. Both are two different things. So there are these type of anomalies here and there, and the government will certainly try to bridge in all these gaps in the future. Now, I'll now take you to an example of a chapter note. That is chapter number 20. Let me take you to the example of a chapter note. Give me a moment. I'm just going to take you to the chapter note. What is chapter 20? Chapter 20 deals with what? Preparations of vegetables, fruit, nuts, or other parts of plants. See, so preparations of vegetables, fruits, nuts, or other parts of plants. Chapter 20. This is the heading, okay, of chapter 20. This is the title of the chapter. Chapter notes. What does the note say? Note number 1. This chapter does not cover. This is how it starts, sir. This chapter does not cover A, vegetables, fruit or nuts prepared or preserved by the processes specified in chapter 7, 8, or food preparations containing more than 20% by weight of sausage, meat, blood, fish or crustaceans, molluscus, so on and so forth, or bakers' wares and other products, homogenized composite food preparations of chapter 21. So when it says this particular chapter does not cover, esteemed friends, you must come out of this chapter when you are dealing with those products. This is just an example I gave you. So every chapter, every section will contain a section note or chapter note. It will say this does not cover this, this does not cover this. Now, can I ask you something? What is the classification code for coffee? Coffee means not the coffee that we all drink. No, this coffee means, as per the Customs Tariff Act, the seed of the coffee tree coffea, but when not attached to the tree. Coffee means the seed of the coffee tree coffea, but when not attached to the tree, which means when you immediately pluck the coffee seed, it is coffee. From seed it becomes coffee. So what is the marketability of the product? How does the trade parlance theory work? How a product is known in the market? What the common man knows the product as? All these things go into classification. Let me tell you, prior to GST era, classification was a very, very important concept in central excise. They have borrowed everything from central excise only. Classification was a very, 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 very important concept in central excise. Now, in GST, how important it is going to be, time is going to tell, department audit is going to tell. But let me tell you, it is not that simple as you and I and I'm trying to tell you. No, it is not that simple. Sometimes it really gets complicated. Some of us drink tea, the beverage I'm telling you. Some of us drink green tea also. And when we go to a shop and we ask for green tea, sometimes the shopkeeper gives you what? Vanilla based green tea, strawberry based green tea, or some berry based green tea, isn't it? But is it tea? That is most important. What is tea? If you go and look at the chapter and the chapter note and respective classification in that particular, you will know that there is a difference between tea, green tea, fruit infusion. That's the difference. See, rate may be different. Rate may be same. We don't know that. We are not on rate. We are only on what is the code that we have to give a particular product. Take the case of printing. Pamphlet is different. Book is different. Printed book is different. Printed pamphlet is different. Visiting card is different, isn't it? Likewise, so there are so many other, like numerous varieties are there. Even in a pen, there are numerous varieties, isn't it? There's a ballpoint pen is there, ink pen is there, then your roller ball pen is there, your smooth flow writing. So many types of pen are there. So many types of spectacles are also there. So you have to go to a particular section, particular chapter note, and find out. You can ask me, sir, how do I gain expertise in this? Only work can give you expertise. Only reading can give you expertise. First read, and then your own reading, you start employing on your client. You try to understand what is the code and why the code is applying. Sir, what is the code of some, sir? 3234, sir. Not like that. Please see the law. Please see the book. What is 3234? What it says? What the Customs Tariff Act says about 3234? You will be getting a larger perspective of this particular most important area in GST, which is classification. Now, coming to the explanatory notes of HSN. See, the World Customs Organization has codified the harmonized systems nomenclature. There are about 10 volumes which are available. In fact, if you go to World Customs Organization's website, the HSN explanatory notes are available for sale. It costs some 1,000 euros, which is some 1,000 euros is for one simple set. The entire total set, if you buy in India, it will cost you somewhere 2.5 to 3 lakh rupees. Is it possible for you to buy? I don't know. But some of us can certainly buy and keep it in the office, because even we don't know at what point of time that book will help us. In fact, I must tell you that I have purchased it in my office. And being a member of the Southern region, being a Central Council member, being the chairman of GST Indirect Taxes Committee now, I also requested the Southern India Regional Council to buy that book and keep it in the library. So the entire volumes of publications of the WCO, World Customs Organization, with respect to explanatory notes, is available in Southern India Regional Council library. But I don't want you to see that. I want you to see the Customs Tariff Act, because our GST classification is based on Customs Tariff Act, and Customs Tariff Act is based on World Customs Organization's nomenclature, the harmonized system nomenclature, which is from Brussels. Okay. Yes. Now, The HSN code which is there, basically as I told you, there are 98 chapters I told you. So it means 98 chapters are there. And there are also miscellaneous entries which say that any product which may be manufactured in future. Now, what is this, friends? This is a mobile phone. Yes or no? Yes, this is a mobile phone. But what are the features it can give? Is it merely a mobile phone today, or is it a handheld computer, a data processing machine? It stores so many data. It can take videos. It can take photographs. It can scan documents. It can receive mail. It can send mail. It can latch on to any social media. It can secretly record conversations. Recorder is also there. So is it merely a phone, or is it something above a phone? Very recently, the GST rate on mobile phones was increased, isn't it? But in phones also there are so many varieties. Today, button phone, just simple button phone which you and I used to use some 15 years, 20 years back. These are also still there in the market. Rickshaw wala, tele wala. Many of them even today use these button phones. But of course, majority is shifted to Android because everyone wants WhatsApp, isn't it? So the GST rate in certain countries is also based on the product. When I say GST, it can be VAT also in some countries. It's based on the product. Standardized milk, the milk which we drink in the morning, the chai pite hain, coffee banate hain. That milk is nil rate, isn't it? Yes. But if you want a nice cake at home, your wife, your mother, sister, daughter will prepare it from milk maid, isn't it? Anand, Amul's milk maid is there. Now, that milk maid, is it milk? No, is it not? That is not milk. That is condensed milk. And that is a special GST rate for that. Flavored milk, Amul flavored milk, you go and drink today. You go to one shop, buy plain milk, buy Amul flavored milk. You will find two different codes, with one at nil rate, the other at 5%. You just do that. Of course, don't go out. Please don't go out now. After everything opens, you go. Don't go and do all those things which I'm telling you. Not now at all. Maybe after everything opens up, after all are over, Corona is defeated, and then we can enjoy outside wherever we want. So if you go and buy these products, you will find differential rate structures, isn't it? Differential rate structures are there. Ready to eat, it is different. When I say it's different, it may be different. It may be same, it may be different. Ready to eat, ready to drink, ready to prepare, fizzy drinks. There are different kinds of products which may fall. I'll give you one example, friends. Prior to the implementation of GST, there was one discussion on jewelry, isn't it? On jewelry. Now, the rate of jewelry was very different in almost all different states in all states in India. Some states it was 5%, like Kerala, my neighboring state. In my state it was 2%. In some states it was 1%. In some states it was 0.5%. So a big discussion was going on in the GST Council as to what should be the GST rate of jewelry. What should be the GST rate of jewelry? Someone said it should be 2. Someone said it should be 3. Kerala said nothing less than 5. Because they were already 3. Now, if it is reduced, they'll stand to lose revenue. But sorry, Kerala was already 5%. So they said nothing less than 5 because they'll stand to lose revenue. But ultimately, what happened? The rate was at 3%. When you go to a jewelry shop, do they only sell jewelry? No. They sell silver articles also. Jewelry means jewelry of gold and silver. Silver plate is there, silver glasses.
The silver plate, the silver glass, the diya, the gold or silver is 3%, or jewelry is 3%. I'm just giving you a small homework, let me tell you. I know the answer, but I don't want to tell you now. Please do the homework. Articles of jewelry, an article of gold or silver is different from jewelry, isn't it? So if you do all these types of exercise, friends, you will find that there are so many different theories of classification that will emerge. Sometimes the product will be classified by the usage. Sometimes the product has to be classified by the name it is sold in the market. Sometimes the product has various classification because of the chemical name. So when you go to a shop and you buy a product which is a mix of let us say two or more commodities. What is the major component? That is fruit tree itself. The fruit paste is in aerated water. Coca-Cola is for aerated water. You add some small content of let us say grape juice in that. Will it still be a fruit drink, or will it continue to be aerated water? You see, in fact, there is a small power outage which is there happening, and I'm speaking via mobile and I'm connected to Vishen Shah on also. Sir,
Yes, sir, you are audible. You are audible.
yes. Thank you. So, as I was discussing about this particular aspect, let me now take you through the final aspects of, let us say, the rules of interpretation. How you could look into it? What are the basic principles? The general rules of interpretation is, if a product is known by its usage, then it should be classified like that only, and not by the material by which material it is used. Hawaii chapel. All of you have your own. All of you would have seen the Hawaii chapel also. All of you have seen, and all of you will also know that how does the Hawaii chapel look like also. It's made of what also? It is made of your rubber, isn't it?
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, now you are audible.
Yes. So Hawaii chappal is made of rubber, isn't it? Now, when you classify Hawaii chappal under chapter 40, rubber and articles of rubber thereof? Articles of rubber thereof? No. Hawaii chappal, there is a separate chapter which talks of what? Footwear of chapter 64. Chapter 64, footwear. Chapter 64 deals with footwear. So chapter 64 deals with footwear and chapter 40 deals with rubber and its articles.
Yes, again, there is a power failure at the speaker's end. Kindly beware with us. Rajendra sir, we can't hear you. Yes, sir, now you can speak.
Yeah. So, the Hawaii chapel, even though it is made free of rubber, it is not a very classification in the rubber and the product chapter 40. It is because there is a specific chapter for footwear. It has to go there only. It has to go there only. Likewise, any mechanical or mechanical appliances which are made or which contain rubber will not go there. What is the mobile phone which I am speaking now? This mobile phone which I am speaking now is actually a mobile phone. When I go to a shop, I don't go to a photography shop, I don't go to a video shop to buy the mobile phone. I go to a store, their mobile phone is there, I not become a data processing machine. It is still a mobile shop only. Am I right? It is still a mobile. It's still a mobile phone only. Sorry, I'm getting confused because there are so many things you have to deal with: the computer, the mobile phone, the power outage, or the power breakage, and so on and so forth. That might be here because the pain can turn down power. Please bear with me, right? Please bear with me. Now coming to the other aspects of classification, I told you billion franchise. I won't give an example of the squad Hajmola technique. All of you.
Audio connection is restored. Thank you. See, this Hajmola or Swad or Halls, whether all these are medicines or they are chocolate or toffee preparations, please tell me, or preparations of sugar. See, basically, this Hajmola and Swad, etc., they claimed that they were Ayurvedic proprietary medicines. Hajmola, sir. Okay, they claimed that they are actually Ayurvedic proprietary medicines. So they were claiming exemptions in the central excise here. Department said these are preparations of sugar. These are preparations of sugar. These are not medicines. They may be available in medicine shop, but these are not medicines. Medicine is something which a medical practitioner will prescribe. Have you ever seen a doctor prescribing, sir, गले में खराश है sir, ठीक है, ये लो, ये Halls लिख दिया, जाके दवाई की दुकान से Halls ले लेना. No. So Halls, all these type of products are not medicinal preparations. They are at best, you can call them some chemical product or sugar-based preparations or some toffees which are sold in the markets. Likewise, I'm going to give you one very classic example. Give me a moment. All of you are aware about the furniture shop called IKEA, I-K-E-E. I'm calling it shop as a normal term, IKEA. It is a made, you yourself can make the furniture at home. So if you want to buy, let us say a cot, you go to the shop and they will give you some 20 pieces of wood and say, oh, please take your cot is ready. And this is the booklet. You see this, you yourself screw and you make the cot. Now here, it is not the classification is not on wood. You will not go to the chapter which deals with wood and wood. You will have to go to the chapter relating to furniture. Even though some 20 pieces of wood and plywood and all those screws, etc., is given you, it is still a furniture and not wood. It is still a furniture and not wood. Now, Vico turmeric Ayurvedic cream. All of you are aware of that? Vico turmeric Ayurvedic cream. All of you are aware? Yes, all of you know that. All of you would have seen the advertisement also. Vajradanti, Vico Vajradanti, tooth powder, toothpaste, Ayurvedic jadi butiyon se bana aushadhi, like that. It's a Vico turmeric, nahi cosmetic, isn't it? That advertisement you have seen, isn't it? Yes, all of you would have seen. Now, this is a classic case. The company which was manufacturing this Vico turmeric, they were claiming that this is an Ayurvedic proprietary product, and from the Ayurveda we have taken all the prescriptions and we are preparing this. Court said no, this is a cosmetic. Not court, department said this is cosmetic. You are claiming it as a fairness cream. Because this cream is used, pimples will go. Because this cream is used, all those marks which are in the face will go. This is only a cosmetic. This is not any Ayurvedic thing at all. This matter went up to the highest court. Court said, see, How have they prepared it? They have just taken this literature from the Ayurveda. They have seen everything. What is written there only they are employing in their technical process. And from the technical process that which is employed, what comes out is this Ayurvedic cream called Ecothermic cream. So the court said it is an Ayurvedic proprietary product only. It's not a cosmetic. What I'm trying to say here is, friends, what is the technical literature? You have to sometimes go into that of how a product has been made, how a product has been manufactured. What is the technical literature behind the manufacture of the product? Gujarat, one of the very, very big industrialized state in India. There are many, many factories which are there. That we don't have that many number of factories in the state where I am coming from. Even though ours is an automobile state, you have many, many number of factories, especially pharma, etc. Please go to the formulations. Please see the technical literature. Please read the product, how it is manufactured, how and what is there written on the sachets, written on those small pouches and packets in which the product is packed. Read that, and as you proceed, as you start in your practice, as you start gaining more experience, you will certainly feel that you are gaining an experience from out of what you are actually reading it, friends. Okay, then one more example that I can give you is this the example of this speakers. Okay, multimedia speakers. What I'm speaking from, what I'm speaking, and there's a laptop before me, and there is an inbuilt mic somewhere here which I'm not able to see. There's an inbuilt camera and everything is there. This is a laptop. Okay, now if you go to a shop which is selling you multimedia speakers, they come in numerous sizes, they come in numerous modes, they come in numerous sounds, etc. Now there are two chapters which contain similar headings. One is chapter 85.18, the other is chapter heading 85.19. Both are same chapters only. 85 is the same chapter. One comes under chapter 85.18, the other is chapter 85.19. I'll just read you the small heading alone. Chapter 85.18 deals with loudspeakers, whether or not mounted in their enclosures, headphones and earphones, whether or not combined with a microphone, sets containing of microphone, one or more of loudspeakers, audio frequency electric amplifiers, sound amplifiers. This is chapter 85.18. Chapter 85.18. Chapter 85.19 deals with sound recording or reproducing apparatus. Now, whether from the microphone which is there in front of me in the laptop, I can record. Yes, I can record. Can I reproduce? Yes, I can reproduce. So whether it will fall, whether the microphone will fall under 85.18 or 85.19, what is the usage? How it is sold and bought in the market? The microphones, the phones, the loudspeaker phones, or this hearing apparatus instruments which are there, how are they sold in the market? So friends, this classification is again a very, very interesting area. You don't get expertise by just hearing to me in half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour. I've been 24 years of my life, my friends. I've never claimed that I've got a strong foothold on classification. Every time an issue of classification comes before me, I see the product. Sometimes I test the product. Sometimes I eat the product. Sometimes I go to the factory to see how it is manufactured. I go through and read the technical literatures to find out whether the classification adopted by the person concerned is right, or if they have just come to me, sir, please look into them, tell me on which head it will be classified. So I do all those testings before I give my view or my opinion that this particular product merits classification with this head and this is the rate of GST. So all of you from today, never answer any question straight on. Oh, on WhatsApp, some people suddenly, sir, what is the rate of GST on this? Don't answer. It is not worth answering on WhatsApp, especially when it comes to rates of GST. So call the client to your office. If your client is asking, if your CA friend is asking, ask him 100 questions. What all questions you can know, you ask, and then make a small research and then give a view. Doesn't matter. Someone say, what is this? A simple question I'm asking, he is not telling. But let me tell you, friends, research will help you in ensuring that you are always correct in this particular nebulous concept of classification. Friends, I'm extremely happy that I am before all of you. I'm speaking to you. If there are any questions, you are always free to email me in my email ID, which is rajendrakumarp@ica.org. That is my email ID. You can always mail me. As a Central Council member, my mobile numbers are available on the Institute website. You can go and see that and call me anytime, send me a WhatsApp. Absolutely no problem. This is just a small introductory session which Bhishan Shah has arranged, and which the Ahmedabad branch has tried to organize. I am not telling that I have given you a thesis or I have written a very lengthy paper on classification. No, not at all. I have only covered the basics. I have given you a general talk on classification. I'll be happy if one day I come to your own place after this Corona or Karina times are over, sit with all of you and have at least a 3-hour lengthy session on classification. Take one chapter, take one section, take one chapter, take a heading note, take a chapter note, explain. Maybe keep 10 products on our table, on the discussion table, and take a product and tell, sir, this particular product may merit classification here and this may be the rate. So ultimately, the client will depend upon you what the rate is correct or wrong. So friends, I sincerely thank the branch for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and as a Central Council member, I have a meeting with the president and the team by 6:30 p.m. I have to, in fact, take a bow from here. My sincere apologies. There were some power-related fluctuations which are happening at home in the last, from today morning only, because there are small rains here in Chennai. And I will not say I'm enjoying. Sometimes you even if you cannot do anything, you take pleasure in what you do. So all of us are like that only. Thank you very much. Stay healthy, stay at home, pray for humanity, pray for mankind. God bless you. Thank you all.
Sir, I would like to state that there are two questions, and one is very much practical. One is that what is the consequence if we are charging 18% tax as per our base classification of goods, but the supplier from whom we procured is charging 12%, even though our constant asking him to charge 18%. It has been asked by Mr. Ravi Prajapati. Yes,
one minute. Which means, let us take A is the manufacturer, B is the retailer. Okay?
Yes.
Example. B is charging 18%, manufacturer is charging 12%. Correct? 12.
Yes.
Now, I would certainly request that chartered accountant friend of mine to do a study as to which rate is correct. After doing the study, prepare a detailed opinion, go and sit with the manufacturer concerned and explain to him that, sir, what you are doing may be wrong. Please see this report which we have prepared for you. Now, assume that 12% is correct. I have paid 18%. That money is gone. You won't get it back. But only thing is you have to come back to 12% if 12% is correct. Okay, that is my view. But immediately don't jump and go for advanced ruling. I will never ever suggest anyone for advanced ruling, because many of the times they are wrong. If you go and give a goat to the butcher, what he will do? He will only cut and sell it as a meat. That's all. That is only will happen. Okay, that's what happened in the Rajasthan advanced ruling. With due respect to them, they bungled up in the directors thing. Many people may be online. Let me tell you, with very strongly, I beg to disagree with the opinion given by the Advanced Ruling Authority of Rajasthan. They have thoroughly bungled up everything. Let me tell you this.
Sir, second question is, sir, how far is it justified for a trader to differ from using different HSN code than his vendor? Maybe the vendor is using incorrect HSN. Would this change of HSN by the trader invite unwarranted attention and litigation?
No, my friend. I will certainly. It is not unwarranted. If the trader feels that the trader is correct, let him document that and keep it in the file. That why he is using that HSN code, which is different from his manufacturer's HSN code or from his supplier's HSN code. Yes,
the third question is, sir, the third question is from Prerna Shah from Bombay. Whether composite supply concept applies to IGST levy under customs law? If yes, then certain transactions like software valuation goods, and therefore the same should not be considered as import of service. Please provide your valuable inputs on the same.
Sir, there was a small voice breakage. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes, sir. Sir, whether composite supply concept applies to IGST levy under customs laws? If yes, then certain transactions.
One second.
Yes.
There is nothing called as composite levy. There is nothing called as composite supply, etc. So anything relating to goods, the customs legislation applies to goods first. If it is a service, there is chapter 99. Chapter 99 has nothing to do with customs. So chapter 99 only with GST. As I told, there are 98 chapters in customs and 99 is services, which is not there in customs. Now you come back to the second part of your question, sir.
Sir, now it talks about if yes, then certain transactions like software valuation may get included in imported goods, and therefore the same should not be considered as import of service. So, sir, what she wants to ask that when software is imported, it is a goods, and on that they are charging IGST, but hardware is purchased, or like whether the software should be treated as import of service, and are we supposed to pay under the reverse charge? That is what I guess the question is.
No. I will tell you, sir. See, whenever let us assume a laptop is imported which has an inbuilt software in that,
Yes,
software, and the cost of laptop, let us say, is 1 lakh rupees. You don't break it up into the software separately and the hardware separately. No, it is one single unit or instrument which has come. You buy a Samsung television. Samsung television has an inbuilt software. You are not valuing it separately. It is one particular product only. So you will not get into the product. I mean, it is like telling that in achar, in achar, you are taking the value of chili separately and charging GST. You are taking the value of oil separately and charging GST. No, achar is an achar. Laptop is a laptop. It is inbuilt software is there. You will not buy, but separately you buy something exclusively which is not available for everyone else, then it can be different.
Would end use have any bearing on the classification of product? Lalit Talesara, CA Lalit Talesara has asked.
Yeah, it can have, sir. It can have. It is depend on the product also. It can have.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir. So I guess you have answered all the questions, sir. And as we are knowing that a leader who knows the way, who goes the way, and who shows the way, sir, you as a leader of our fraternity and as a chairman of Indirect Tax Committee shown us a way how to make a classification decision for the client and for our consultation. Thank you very much, sir. And we at Ahmedabad branch are really highly obliged that you came on this platform and you address the participants. We want you to request कि you come again to our branch physically once this COVID ends. Thank you very much, sir. I request all the participants to send your questions if you are having any. We will collate it and we will send it to Rajendra Kumar sir, and we'll definitely going to get the answer from sir. Thank you very much. We are going to meet tomorrow on the same time. That's it. I request now all the members